Alrighty, guys, welcome to the first week of our Summer Tech Bytes program. And more specifically, today is a Wednesday meeting. We're going to be doing our first ever week of web project development. Thank you guys for coming out here today. It is the first week of us kicking off all of our summer programs, which we'll be recapping in a little bit as well. But we have a bunch of things planned for this month of June and July as well, diving deeper into some new computer science topics, which we have not explored in our January through May programs. We do have some OGs here who do remember from our January through May programs. We did a bunch of cool things with the programming language of Python, but now in the summer, making a switch to the yellow colored language, I guess, correlating with the sun. You guys will see in a bit with the logo called JavaScript. So that's going to be our summer focus, talking more about that and what that entails. But as always, if you are new, thank you so much for coming out here today. We appreciate the new faces. And for those returning, we always look forward to seeing you guys again. So without any further ado, let's kick off this summer. For those of you who do not know, my name is Rayan Siddiqui. I was just talking, me and Ledger was talking about it. We just graduated from James B. Cohen High School about two and a half weeks ago. And now it's time to start thinking about college. This upcoming fall, I will be going to the University of Illinois Chicago, UIC, majoring in, you might have guessed, computer science. And as you guys can see it towards the top right, got a little pun Chase wanted me to put right there. It's cheesy, but I think I still feel great about it. It's very, very good. Joe, I know he likes that one too. So we might have to switch it up. I don't know about pun wars, but we might have to do some type of debate to kick off every week. But for those who don't know, big technology enthusiasts, love doing things with tech, making apps, websites, and excited to share that passion with you guys this summer now.
All right, and my name is Lavdi. As you guys know, I introduced myself like 2 minutes ago. Just like Rayan, I graduated CONET about 2 weeks ago, and now I'm going to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign for CS at Granger. Pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to start a new phase of learning CS. And yeah, I did not bring a meme and pun because I did bring one yesterday and I wanted to level it out between Rayan and I. So there you go.
I appreciate it, Lavdi. Well, we'll have to start up something new. I think I like that idea of like a question of the day. We want to do that. And then we'll hear you guys before we start. That could be fun. Alrighty, well, that is from our Tech Bytes team. But guys, we usually have a way we run these programs that we like to recap what we're going to be doing each and every week, starting off with our agenda for today. Lavdi won by choosing not to fight. Sometimes
Thank you, Joe.
Well, I guess sometimes it's best not to step in the ring. So today, guys, we're just going to do some introductions, talking about what this program of web project development is all about, talking about our new programming language, which we'll be shifting on for the summer, seeing some examples of stuff which has been made with the programming language of JavaScript, and then talking about where we want to focus ourselves for the upcoming weeks. So first things first, let's talk about what we got for this summer.
All right, so today we are doing web project development. That's every Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. But other than that, we have 3 more Tech Bytes programs, which are Web Development Bell Day. That's every Monday. And in that, we'll be learning about HTML and JavaScript. And we're actually going to learn the syntax and how to write loops and solve like many problems in JavaScript and HTML. And they'll kind of work like bell ringers. So just solve a problem, learn about the syntax, and move on. And then every Tuesday is MIT App Inventor. Now, I get really excited whenever I talk about this because it's something new for both Rayan and I, and we really love it. It's very interesting because MIT App Inventor is a platform where you get to create apps using block code, so that's really easy. But then there's this whole IDE where you can connect codes to UI like buttons, text fields. So basically, make an app, and then you can run it on your phone to test it. So that's really cool. And then every Wednesday is web project development. We create full-out projects in JS, HTML, and CSS. So websites basically, but without like URLs and all that. And something different from Python projects is that we'll get to use more visuals. Whereas in Python projects, we use the console, so just type stuff in for user data. We'll be able to use buttons, text fields, images, all that cool stuff. And then finally, video gaming hour. That's going to be Thursdays, bi-weekly, so every other Thursday. It's a chill day where you come with your friends and we play a game together. But before we do play the game, we kind of talk about how that specific game is related to computer science, because nowadays every video game has some sort of coding going inside there. And my bad, Joe, it's first and third Thursdays.
And we'll also be potentially having a in-person Pokemon Go Day with Video Gaming Hour like in July. So stay tuned for that. We're just waiting on some more clarification of what's to come with in-person programming, but some fun potential in-person stuff coming in maybe in July and August. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yep.
Alrighty, and as a quick reminder, guys, hopefully all of us are signed up on the Google Classroom. This is where Labdi and I communicate all of our information, including the recaps from each week, the YouTube video links, so that you guys can go back and watch the videos. And you guys can post any questions you have there as well. The code is right there, and I will drop the link to the direct sign up there as well. If you guys want to hit that link, just need a Google account, and you should be able to sign in and come on in.
And then I just put in the code just in case.
Great.
Now yesterday, a couple of us were having problems for getting into the Google Classroom. If you're using your school account, you will have I guess problems, difficulties, because school accounts usually don't let you join other classrooms. So make sure you sign into your personal account, whether it's your account or your parents' account, and then join this classroom.
Yeah, I know there's like a domain problem we can. So if you guys have like a District 54 account, or if you're going to District 211, I know we have some rising freshmen out here. Use your personal account. Alrighty. Well, like we were talking about earlier, guys, now in the summer programs, we are shifting our Tech Bytes focus from the language Labdi was talking about called Python to something new called JavaScript. Now, programming languages we've discussed in the past are like speaking languages, English, Mandarin, Spanish, right? We are communicating with other people, but in programming, we're communicating with the computer. Now, if I say hello in English and I'm saying hola in Spanish, it means the same thing. I'm saying hi. What we're going to learn throughout these next 2 months is that when we're trying to communicate with the computer, the idea and the concepts will still be the same, which we've learned over the past 5 months in Python. The only difference which we'll have to sort of come about with is how to type it and actually say those words to a computer. And the language which we will be focusing on is called JavaScript, and JavaScript is a huge language because of how big of an impact it has on our daily lives. Most of the time, every website which we go to, over 1.8 billion websites use the programming language of JavaScript. In a little bit, we'll see how JavaScript helps make some websites as well. And like I said before, the concepts will be similar to Python. With that being variables, we have for loops, we have conditionals. There we go. Labdi even has a laptop saver.
Yeah. I just wanted to show my laptop stickers off. No, but yeah, JavaScript is a very popular language. Go ahead. I didn't want to disturb you.
Definitely. And the thing is that it's going to be much more easier for us to now get used to JavaScript because we don't have to spend as much time going over what a for loop does, what is a variable. The only difference is it's just learning about that slight change in what we got to type to communicate the same idea to the computer. Now, if you are new, I'd highly recommend if you want to go back to a couple of our videos in our algorithm programming, our product development from the past 5 months. They're all available on the Schomburg Libraries YouTube channel in the Tech Bytes playlist. But we'll be doing a quick recap over the next 2 weeks, just getting our feet wet and creating a foundation with JavaScript. But like we said, it's a huge language. Most of the time, any website you go to, we will see it uses JavaScript. So give it a warm welcome.
Yep, and like huge websites like Facebook, Twitter, like they have to use JavaScript to actually make those websites. So it's really cool that we get to learn these on our own, and potentially when we do get older, we get to work on like huge websites like that. All right, so what is web development? Creating projects in website formats. So in programming, you can create all kinds of projects, from like just hardware projects to just console projects. So you put in your name, and then your project says hi Labdi. That's a project. But web development is cool because there's a lot of user interface, so UI. So basically stuff you see on the screen, like buttons, images, text fields, something that is similar to what we see on websites. And that's why we are creating projects in website formats. Now, there are 2 versions.
Yes.
All right. All right, we'll be creating 2 types of projects. A game, so games like we can create Frogger or Hangman. That's a game that you guys did make last year, right, Ryan?
We did not do Hangman, I think.
Hangman?
No, we
I
might
think you guys did.
have Hangman, yeah.
Yeah, so games like those, and then there's the other type of projects that we can make, the productivity application. So a calculator. That's not a game, but it's still a project where the user can input stuff, and then your program does something, and then output something else. So yeah.
So what's the major differences between Python and JavaScript? You know, we've done product development. We made 4 or 5 different projects, and throughout January through May, we started with Mastermind, made tic-tac-toe with the graphical interface. We had the population simulation with COVID-19. We had the quiz game with the classes and objects we learned about. So we had a bunch of different things, right? Or Chase like to call it JavaScript. Well, the main differences between Python and JavaScript right here. With Python, we saw it was mostly text-based. Everything was done through the console and through the output box. That is except for, like Chase is saying, the reference to the GUI. We had one product with tic-tac-toe where we were able to use a library to make physical programs. But the thing is, with Python, that's not what you usually do. If you remember, with Python, we've done a bunch of talk about how Python is used to analyze data. We've talked about how it helps us make recommendations for people. And it's more data-driven language, and it doesn't really have stuff which does things with physical output. Well, that's where a programming language like JavaScript comes in. There are 3 files which we will come to learn about with JavaScript. First being HTML, the CSS, and then the JavaScript file. All 3 of these are 3 files which work together in order to make a website, which we'll see. JavaScript, like we said, is much more visual-based because it has many more physical elements like buttons, there's text fields, there's checkboxes, there's many more things which we can add, which allow us to have more control over what is happening on the screen, and that will be all done with these 3 file formats, which we'll cover in a bit.
All right. And, okay, sorry. So as Ryan said, there are 3 files for a website. Now, it can sound really complicated, like, I just want to create a single website. Why do I need 3 files? Well, all 3 of these do different tasks. So basically, you're doing simpler tasks per file, but you just divided your main like set of tasks into 3. So HTML is where we structure our website. So we tell our compiler to, I guess, put in 3 buttons, or put in 3 buttons and 1 text field, or put in 3 buttons, 1 text field, and an image. And then finally, those buttons, text fields, and images, those are just like really simple buttons, like gray buttons with black lettering. Now, what do we do if we want to turn those gray buttons into, suppose, red buttons, if we want to say delete? Well, that's where the CSS comes in. That's where we stylize our website. Now, the name of the CSS file is usually style.css. That's what like your teachers usually tell you to name them, because they're the style sheets of our project. That's where we put in size, color, animation, even like fade, shadow, fonts, and like a bunch of cool stuff. So that's HTML and CSS. That's just like what you see on the screen. But what happens to the logic, like the logic where if you click a button, what do you want the program to do? That comes in JavaScript. So JavaScript basically does the chores, basically. So we manipulate our website and basically where the logic code goes. So for example, if we have a button on our screen, we have to use HTML to actually put the button on there. And then we use CSS to basically, let's say we want to color it green. So we have a green button. So now we used HTML and CSS. And we want it to, suppose, say hello when we click on it. That's where JavaScript comes in. In JavaScript, we'll have to code in, I guess, either alert or console.log, or maybe speak hello when the button is clicked. And that's JS.
Exactly. So these 3 files, do not get overwhelmed, guys. Like Bobby was saying, we'll be mostly focusing on JavaScript, but we'll see how a little bit of HTML, CSS will help us create our projects. So how about we take a look at how do 1.8 billion websites use JavaScript? And it's pretty simple. So say if I just go to any website, right? Say I go to, let's go to CNN, the news website. So there's a bunch of news articles which they have posted, right, about many things going on throughout the U.S., from COVID-19 to Joe Biden going abroad as his legacy at home suddenly looks a bit shaky. Wow. So if I were to inspect, this is something you guys might have done, JavaScript like the nooks and crannies of the code. Exactly. Yep, Cheryl. So JavaScript is like the powerhouse, the mitochondria of websites, right? It's what's powering websites. The front is all the little cells, I guess you could say, the skin. Oh, that's a good analogy. So this, like the HTML and CSS are like the skin, but the JavaScript is like the mitochondria. It's the cells which is making the whole website possible. Yep, exactly, Avani. So that's what we're going to do. So if I right click, then go to inspect element, right? And then say we go to, or we can actually do something different. So there we go. So if I inspect element, we're seeing with all of this. What is all this, right? Well, this is all the stuff, all the code which makes up our website. And more specifically right now, what we're looking at, this is our HTML. Remember, the HTML is what is used to structure our website. So the structure of our website in the format we see with all the news articles on top of one another, that is done with the HTML. So if I say I go to this area, that is what is making up the tab. So the podcast area, the scrollable tab right here, right? This HTML code is making that up. So if I open this up, this section, we can see this is the HTML which is making it up. Now, although we're not going to be doing something as specific or as lengthy with making scrollable tabs, this still goes to show us that HTML is making the website's format. Now, say I wanted to see the CSS behind this website. If I go to...
I think it's open in styles. Yeah.
Right here on the right, yep. So right here is where all of our style happens with our website. The colors, the white background, the boldness of certain characters. That is all done on this right area where my mouse is with the CSS. Now CSS, we can see, so if I go to the body tab, right? This is showing us that all the text has a black background. We have many more attributes as well. So padding is telling us how much of a space we have between certain elements. And essentially, without the CSS, this website would not look as nice as it would. It would be very plain, no colors, all the text would look the same. None of the words would have more emphasis on them with the boldness. However, with the CSS, we're able to see how the main headline of the Department of Justice looks like. Their headline is the most important, meaning it's the most bolded out. Other articles have smaller text, which aren't as important or as newsworthy, right? So that's what CSS comes to help out with. Now, if we check out the JavaScript, if I go to a script tag, this is where we can access and see all of our JavaScript right here. Whenever we see any script tag, any code in between, it always means that we're looking at some JavaScript. So right here, it looks like they have some conditional going on, and they're retrieving some data. They might be using some APIs out here. Anybody remember what an API is from old Tech Bytes programs? Well, that's a bit of an older topic we discussed, but an API, remember, we might be using it in our product development as well, coming up soon. But an API allows us to retrieve data or get some data from another source and makes our lives much easier for programmers. So it looks like they're calling some right here, many more. This is a bit different code than what we will be doing, because it looks like these guys are doing some real-time getting subscriptions, creating tags. But the main thing is that we're realizing this website or any website is using JavaScript code. Now, if I were to go to something a bit more basic, so let me pull up a freshman year project that has much more basic HTML.
You still have those?
Yeah, I got it pulled up on my website. So if I go to one of the first products ever made in JavaScript, a Hangman game, and if I hit view paid source, this is showing all of the code. Now this is some more similar to what we'll be doing initially with our first project, some basic HTML up here. This is all the structure of the website, the text I have in a header tag, We have some IDs, which we are able to manipulate with JavaScript. If I go down right here, we see the style tab. That style tag tells us that we're looking at our CSS. So all the colors, you can see I have colors for each of the tags to make it look nicer, some different sizing to place more emphasis on certain words. And then if I keep on going down, we reach the script tag. And remember, when we see the script tag, that tells us that we're looking at the JavaScript. And this is where the JavaScript starts. So we have conditionals, similar to Python. We have variables. Notice how to declare a variable, we have to add the word var in front of our variable name. It's similar, we can declare whatever variable we want. Their arrays, still the same way to write arrays. We have conditionals, still the same way to write conditionals. And then we have function declarations. Anybody remember what we did to make a function in Python? What was the word?
Def.
Exactly, Darren. Right. So instead of using def in Python, we're going to be using the word function to create a function in JavaScript. Similarly, we still have more variables. We have for loops in JavaScript. Notice how they're a bit different. We have some more details which we have to fill out. We still have for loops and while loops, but in a for loop, we have to declare our variable within the parentheses, and then we have to increment it so that we can iterate over an array and do different things with that. So as we're going through this, we're still looking at seeing that the concepts are still the same. Most of the syntax is pretty similar too with JavaScript, but just goes to show us, wow, November 6, 2017, that's when this was made. Oh, way back, throwback, almost 4 years. So 4 years ago, a lot of you and I both made this. A lot of you made our own version too, but this is one of our freshman year projects. So if you guys are going to freshman year of high school and are taking APCSB, Computer Science Principles, you might be making this as well. My main idea, once again, guys, 3 files. We got our HTML, the structure of the website. It's where we add the text initially, what we want the user to see when they first go on the website. Style, the CSS, making our website look nice, look pretty. It adds that background, the colors. If I were to, oh, I can't, if I were to, how about, I think this will make a difference so right now. If I were to just comment out all this, I can't, yeah. So not here, but if I were to comment out all this would become pretty black and white. It would just be a white background. None of these buttons would have any color, and it wouldn't look as nice. And then with the JavaScript is all the code behind the program. So if I hit, let's make a guess. If I put the letter A, we have a letter A. If I do E, there's an E. Okay, I'm too good right now. Oh my. Okay, so there we go. If I enter an incorrect letter, we are shown a picture of a hangman eventually as we go through. I think the word is pelican. So if I guess the whole word, we got the whole word and we win the game. So this is an example of a project we can make, but it's much more, as you notice, much more physically driven. We have many more physical elements. We have pictures, we have buttons, we have text, and all that's possible because of this idea of JavaScript. In Python, it's not as easy to make this website with colors, with buttons, but we'll notice in the upcoming weeks how with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, our 3 files, we'll be able to create some similar projects as well. And yeah, this applies for any website. So if you go to any website you use on a daily basis, you do right-click, inspect element, you can go back and see all of the code behind all of the website.
All right. So back to what we will be doing in these sessions. In order to create a project, we need some ideas, and usually the most important part of making a CS project is making sure that your project idea fits, I guess, your skills in that language, and you're learning something in the process as well. So I think last year in JavaScript and in Python, as Ryan said, we have been working on projects for like 3 to 4 weeks. So they're fairly medium-sized project, not too big, like not a 2-month project, and not too small, basically finishing them in a single day. So some examples of project ideas are Jeopardy or a quiz game. In fact, we did make this in Python about like 5 to 6 weeks ago, or maybe like 2 months ago. But then again, right, as Rand said, we can also make games like Hangman or something like Calculator, which you guys did make last year, but we can definitely go over that again, maybe add a few cool particular things to that. So we should Rand, I think let's have like 2 to 5 minutes. Let's brainstorm if you guys have any ideas. So because the main thing about this whole session is we need you guys to participate and have fun while we create this project together. So if you guys have any ideas in mind, feel free to put them in the chat, or say out loud. Or yeah, again, you can also post on the Tech Bytes classroom comments there. Other than that, if no one has any ideas, Ryan and I will definitely come up with a cool idea after this session, between this week and next week, so we can get started next week. Avanish, you're in the library, so you can only chat. Yeah, no problem. You can just chat in your ideas.
Feel free to go ahead and look at that paragraph I sent you on the classroom.
Oh.
All right, I just posted on the Google Classroom, so if you guys want to answer, if you are in the Google Classroom, if you go to the classwork tab, and then head on over to web project development, and then you can answer a question of what ideas do we have. And no idea is a bad idea. Lavi and I can like take a look at if the idea is possible. We're planning on doing it's like 2 projects, one probably 3 weeks, finish that up, and then one longer for 4 weeks, and upping up the difficulty in the second project, starting out with an easier project for the first one. So any idea is a good idea.
You can even brainstorm right now with each other. So if you just throw out an idea, and maybe if we want to merge 2 types of project into one. Wait, so what is in Google Classroom? So Avanish Rand just posted a question, which you can answer with any ideas that you have for projects that we can work on, or the first project that we'll be working on.
That is fine on it. Was everybody here able to log in to the Google Classroom? Anybody having any issues? All right, we got some ideas coming. We got Karen saying a schedule to pick a date and time and notify people. Okay, something like that's like a productivity type website. Okay, so a scheduler, we can add dates, times. Good idea. Krishna saying tic-tac-toe. Krishna, we did make tic-tac-toe in Python, but we could make it in JavaScript and see the differences. Definitely.
Oh, we did? Oh, yeah, yeah, before this, yeah.
All right, we got Avanish saying I could do a simple adventure game. That's a cool idea too. So choose your own adventure. Is that what you were getting at, Avanish? No, okay. Oh, like Mario. Oh. So like graphics. That's a cool idea, but yeah, Rand and I will talk about like how much code that'll require, like animation and all of that. Because again, an adventure game isn't cool without all those cool animations. So.
Or what we could consider as well is making one big. It would be 7 weeks now. One big 7-week project if we want to encompass a bunch of things. If you guys want to make one big project, or do you guys want to make 2 separate smaller projects?
How about once we get like a few ideas, let's have a vote today whether we want to work on a huge, like a big project over the next 7 weeks, or if we want to do two smaller projects and learn different kinds of code. How's that? Let me see if I can create a poll. I can't.
I know.
Yeah, I cannot as well. Chase, a puzzle game? A lot of possibilities.
Not working. Not on yet.
Sudoku. Oh man, Avnish. Actually, in
We got more ideas too. Ishan saying a quiz game or speed typing game. Okay, definitely. Nandini saying a magic 8 ball that helps you cure boredom. What do I do? Go draw something. Okay, so maybe like the boredom idea along with the scheduler.
What we could do is we could just make the boredom cure just print to the same thing every time. Finished. We finished it already.
I can give grades. You guys.
Oh.
First grades ever given on a Google Classroom Tech Bytes. 100%.
Kiran, Ishan, Krishna, and Nandini.
Oh yeah. We'll be getting SOS. No, we got
No,
Get A pluses.
yeah, that now that panel's out. Now it's going to this.
All right, let's have a vote. Just like React. How about between a game and an application? So if you would rather make a game, do a clap emoji. But if you'd rather make a scheduling or like an application that works, not a game, do the thumbs up. All right, we got 3 claps, 4 claps, 5 claps. We got 1 thumbs up.
So
2 thumbs up. Wait, oh man, oh. Chase, okay. That's not helping Chase. And Nandini.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can't decide. There's too many choices.
So looks like game is taking over.
It looks like, okay. It looks like overall, yeah.
All right, then a follow-up question to that would be, would you guys want to make one big project over the next 7 weeks, or would you guys rather make 2 smaller projects? So let's get a thumbs up for small or a clap for a big project.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Okay, wow, so the consensus, everybody wants to make something big.
Yeah, we're not counting Chase's vote.
Chase,
He's too, yeah.
swing state out here. He's like Florida. He's going red, blue.
It's confusing, yeah. Oh, okay, what's
Okay, Chase just changing it up now. All right, well, thank you guys for the input. This will definitely shape what we create then. We can combine more ideas, and eventually, if we do a big project, we can incorporate some new things, which we have not done in the past. So that's good to know. All right. Alrighty, well, with that, guys, that takes us till the end for this first week of our project development course. It was just meant to sort of introduce the idea of JavaScript, recap what we're going to be doing for these upcoming weeks, and we sort of have a sense of path now of what we will be tackling. If you guys have any new ideas, keep on dropping them in the Google Classroom. Let us know if you have any questions. Remember, this Thursday, we do not have gaming hour. That'll be next Thursday. And then next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we are going full swing with our 3 summer programs. Guys, if this was your first time coming out or you're returning, we appreciate you coming out. Hopefully you guys had a good time and it sparked your interest more. And we hope to get you guys at more programs starting next week. See you guys.
Bye.